Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you my thoughts on Veto. Admittedly, I have an extended cut of this that's like 45 minutes long because there's a lot of things to talk about where I think that Veto just won't be that good for pro play. I think he might actually be worse for pro play than ranked, but I have tabs open to talk about some things. However, I didn't really talk about the positives of Veto, so if you want to see that, maybe I'll release that. It's 45-ish minutes long, but hopefully I'm going to go through this quicker and talk about the things that are good and bad with Veto. So we're going to come down to the abilities and where I think Veto has a chance. First one, crosscut. This is the one that's getting more talk now, and truthfully, uh, it's where I also have a lot of issue too, because of how people are trying to spin it. Oh, you can use crosscut and you can just be on the other site. Pro players are going to love that. That's going to be amazing. Or, or instead of spending 400 credits to get to the other site, I could be Yoru. I could just be Yoru. 150 and it'll come back. If I get some kills off of it, I can just be Yoru. Or I can teleport over to a different angle for free without having to look at it and instantly, right? So while I have the duration, the animation duration of gate crash, and I think it might even be slower to be honest, I'm limited by the range of rendezvous and I have to look at it, which neither of these do. So with crosscut, I don't quite agree that pro players are going to love to use 400 credits to be at a spot and then have nothing, right? Don't get me wrong. Trying to retake any site as a sentinel that isn't Killjoy with ult, or Vice with ult, I guess, or Vice in general, kind of the best one to retake. Deadlock is in there too. Um, is annoying. But if the site is given up, there's very few things that you coming over there, cross cutting twice, is going to offer in pro play, in my opinion. Um, I just can't see somebody picking that. And that kind of goes to a lot of what I'll see with Veto is that I can't see why you would pick Veto instead of somebody else. And I say that as somebody that likes Veto. I can't see this replacing Yoru unless you have a player that just can't play Yoru for the life of them. They can't play Chamber, and you want teleports. But I say this to say though, this is one thing with crosscut that is pretty good, right? Compared to, I think you need to compare it a little bit more to Omen in the sense that you can Omen teleport. I mean, your sound kind of gives you away, but you have the option for Omen TPs. Let's pull up Omen. Uh, you have the option for Omen TPs, except you can set it up beforehand and go through walls, essentially, right? If you put it behind a wall, if you put crosscut behind a wall, you don't have to be looking. You don't have to be looking at the same way for shrouded step, right? So you wouldn't tell somebody, "Oh, you can just shrouded step to fast rotate." I think that's stupid. Instead, you can be at angles as a sentinel that they didn't expect you at. For instance, like I recently did something on Split that was kind of cool. Put the TP where, entry right on top of boxes. Uh, the place everyone goes. If you can teleport, that's where you go up. But instead of having to give away my position instantly, Once they see that a person isn't right there at that angle, they kind of won't pay too much attention to it, right? Instead, play back a sight, pop one, then they try to swing, hopefully have something to stop. Like, you probably put the chokehold down and swing off the chokehold, and then you teleport up. And if there's any noise going on, they probably won't hear crosscut, right? If there's anything going on, like while they're execing, throwing shit, they probably won't hear crosscuts teleport. That's the benefit. But if they do, you're fucked. Now, teleport up there, get a couple more, right? That's cool. And to crosscut, the main thing that I think puts it over the edge of other abilities is that you can get the elevation. Yes, you can get that same elevation with chamber, but it's a lot shittier. Uh, in the fact that, well, you kind of have to. You can also be turned around. You can turn during crosscut to be at the right angle. So you have to be pretty careful doing it with chamber because I guess you can, but you have it's pretty funky, right? So I think crosscut the best thing is having omen elevation angles while being able to possibly have one to escape. Like I'm thinking about, of course, Haven C. Play on top of that box, have the other one set up at window, get out of there, or have the other one set up in that fucking corner that on platform. Uh, get out of there, right? Or play on top of the box right there, dead center of C, and get out of there. Possibly play on top of a box on Haven A, and then get to fucking heaven. That actually is a weird sentence to say, huh? But get to heaven. That's where crosscut I think is probably best, and giving more people credit for, yeah, crosscut is the probably the best ability on Veto, if I'm being honest, right? Um, so that's thing number one. I think that Veto will do better on maps with places you can play elevation, because they have to look up to see if they can find you, and that breaks crosshair placement, right? And not everybody is adept at looking up while clearing the corner because you still might be at the regular spots, right? So, crosscut, I don't give it a lot of credit for what people are saying. Yeah, you just be at the other side. I think that's stupid as hell. I really think that's stupid as hell. I'm sorry, but that's my take on every time I've heard somebody kind of say that. I'm like, that's dumb as fuck. I'm not spending 400 credits having absolutely nothing for the rest of the round just to rotate. I'll just walk. What scenario is it just going to be that amazing where I'm spending every round? I've used my 400 credits just to quickly rotate, and then they hit my sight. But I have nothing on my sight now. I'm not at a weird angle. I'm not at a different angle trying to pop people. None of that shit. Like I've just wasted 400 credits for both of my teleports to be in spawn, where I could just be playing Yoru and do the shit for 150 and it'll come back. Like I don't get that. But that's my main thing with crosscut, where I think that that's a dumbass take, but the fact that you can position yourself well enough around your site is where Veto comes in handy. Then we have chokehold. Chokehold is also interesting because I think it's fine for flank watch. I do think it's fine. I would like more options to use it for post plant because that's where it's strong. That's where it's strong. Um, so if you feel confident enough to watch the flank yourself and throw chokehold in a position for the retake after you got spike down, it's pretty good. Um, because they don't really have too many options to get rid of it before running into it while the clock is ticking, right? It's pretty good to know that nobody's come from behind you, but it's even better for them to not be able to get to the spike. So that's pretty cool. Also, this is my other hot take with the chokehold thing. People are talking about throwing lineups so that you can do the execute thing on attack. I disagree. I think that it's just not quite to the same snuff as trying to throw a nano swarm that you can pop or razor vines that you can pop. Instead, they will see it and they will shoot it for 200 and you don't get to activate it. It has to prime first. So, chokehold's fine and there's some things you can do with it where, if you have a Brim or a Teho with ult, that's pretty much a one round as soon as somebody hits chokehold, right? You place that shit in hookah and then people get fucking fried. That's cool, but that also can be said the same for having an agent with a molly on your team on top of that. So chokehold's cool. It doesn't require. It has a different trade-off from like tether from gravnet and of course siege from fade, where you don't have to be seen for it. So that's pretty cool and you can just have people act off of that one thing. Where as soon as it gets popped, throw something in there, possibly get the kill. So that's pretty cool. But you're also a sentinel, so how often do you need another person playing on site with you? Oh no, but that's just another option that you can have. So there's that. Then we come to interceptor, and this is where a lot of my issues with Veto come into play because the reason for the entire 45-minute extended cut of this video is that Interceptor is kind of bad. It's kind of bad. It's not bad per se, but it's just like not that useful. Um, Not as useful as I would like it to be. So first off, you can see plenty of videos of what all things gets affected by Interceptor. Not going through all of that right now, but you know, it's a lot that doesn't get affected by Interceptor. And on top of that, this reminds me of the same conversation that was had when KO released. Oh my gosh, you can just stop them from using abilities, then they just don't have the ability to execute? Oh my gosh. See, here's the thing though. KO, 0 point, not only does that, but it gives you information to let you know people were hit, right? So there's that. And ironically, KO really fucks over Veto, but we'll get to that in a second too. Interceptor, on the other hand, you have to have it in the right place, activate at the right time, and get only hit by the right things. So it's kind of not that great. Has like a 20-meter radius, I believe, for like what it'll do. But here's the thing: if you place it at, and this is where it gets even more dependent on what your enemy has. And if they bring any mix of all of these agents, it just really skews what you can do with it. So it's not going to stop you from getting paranoid, right? It's not going to stop that. It's not going to stop you from getting breach stunned. And it could stop a Phoenix Flash or a Yoru Flash, but it will. The Phoenix Flash is close range. So how do you know that they're about to do that through a smoke or just in general? Why won't they wait until they don't hear Interceptor going off anymore? And Yoru is invisible. Yoru's flash is invisible until it bounces off of something. So how the fuck do you know when to time Interceptor? And then you'll just be blinded by both of those. And if you're blinded, you can't look at crosscut. Well, I mean, hey, hopefully, yeah. If maybe you've remembered exactly how far to drag your mouse if blinded from there to look over. But uh, good luck trying to precisely get to your crosscut if you get blinded. You can stop a sky flash pretty accurately. You can stop a KO flash pretty accurately. Then they throw both of those at a different angle over a wall that your interceptor can't cover. Uh, it's it's fucked. It's kind of fucked. It stops the utility of like a nade, so that's pretty cool. You can't be naded or mollied off at some of those angles. You can still be flashed or stunned off. So it stops some things, and then here comes. I actually have another thing where I think that it doesn't get countered by some of the things that people. No, I don't think it counters some of the things that people think it counters. Instead, it kind of counters you in a weird way. So well, there's a lot to Interceptor that I want to talk about. Then we come to Evolution. Evolution's fine. I think you can arguably bring it down to 6 just like Reyna, and I believe Phoenix is 6 now. Is Phoenix 6 or 7? I forget. But I believe you can just. I think it could come down to point for this to be your Sentinel's ult, where it is completely selfish. Uh, it doesn't clear the entire site, right? Let's go through the other Sentinels, right? Real quick. Sorry, Windows 11 has been having a doozy, and that's why I'm also not on Valorant or well, I was going with Valorant to explain all of this, but I think this is kind of works better. But yeah. It's not an ult that clears the site for you. Doesn't tell you where everybody is. Doesn't bring back a teammate. Doesn't insta kill with 5 bullets. Doesn't insta kill with one net. Doesn't get rid of everybody's weapons. Instead, you, just you, uh, can't take ability damage or debuffs. You can still lose your gunfight. It won't give you any information about what the opponent's doing. But I gotta admit, I do have a clip in which I was able to defuse through a Brim ult because I think they just forgot that's what my ability does, even though that's literally the login screen and the trailer. So, there's that. You can do that. And I'm not saying that it's not pretty good and cool, but I would say that it doesn't need to be 7. I don't think it needs to be 7. So that's that. Why do I have these other tabs open? All right, so all of this reminds me of KO. I've already said that part, but it reminds me of KO. But KO has other shit. Besides the teleports that you have on Veto and arguably Chokehold, right? Veto, KO still has a nade, 2 flashes, and the ultimate even will fuck over Veto too. And let's talk about that for a second. 0 Point hits a wall next to you. That's fucked. You play close, you can't play close versus KO. You can't do it. If you hear no command get popped and you are playing close, no matter how quick you are, that's I shouldn't say no matter how quick, because well, no, if you're playing close to close, no matter how quick you are, your ult for evolution to not get hit by debuffs does not pop fast enough, so you lose your ult. In fact, I was playing on top of the box, on top of default, sorry, on Sea Haven. KO pops his ult at the bottom of C Long. I instantly, as soon as I heard him start going, whatever fuck his line is right now, I can't think. Pop mine? Nope. I get hit by a pulse, and it does not. The animation of you trying to transition into evolution takes too long. So you still have to play anti KO setup, even as the Sentinel, which I find kind of weird. Um, so if they speed up the animation, that'll be cool, but then the animation won't be cool. So there's that, right? But 0 Point, if you play close, it'll just it'll grab you, and then your stuff is down. You can't stop 0 Point from going off with Interceptor if Interceptor can't see it. So hitting any close by wall that didn't take that flight path, it's fucked, and then that just means that the KO just throws it at a different way. And because Interceptor can be heard, they just throw it at different angles or wait out the 9 seconds. Interceptor either has to last a lot longer or have a lot wider range for it to be nearly as effective as what people think. So that's where I think that in pro play, I don't see Veto being that good because I'm already getting. Now, mind you, I'm not that good. I'm not. I haven't touched this game that often in several years. Trying to get back into it now. Right? But, like, actually playing it. But, if I can. Alright, I need to stop this Sova drone. That way it doesn't see my hiding spot, my teammate's hiding spot. Then they just wait 9 seconds and call it a day. Then they throw all the shit then. And for 9 seconds, you can call your team over. That is one benefit for it. At the same time, though, if you have it too close, nothing stops them from just swinging on it and popping it and executing. Absolutely nothing. Hopefully, you are now holding the angle for your interceptor, which feels kind of weird if that's what you want to do. But then you go into the flashes, like Yoru, which you have no clue. Especially again, you can't play close. You can't play close. You have no clue when that's about to go off because it's invisible until it hits the surface. So then you just get fucking flashed. And good luck hitting your teleport, like I said before. So there's that. But yeah, I feel like this is K all over again, where people be like, oh, wait, this is going to be great for pro play because you just stopped him from doing things. Veto's signature free ability stopped my opponent from using 200 credits one time. Great. That's awesome because they're not going to keep throwing shit. They're not going to keep throwing shit. Now in rank they might, where they like didn't realize what happened for the first couple of times and people aren't coordinated. But in pro play they're not going to keep throwing shit. So there's that. Uh, all of that. But moving on from just that part, let's talk about that again. Gate crash. You could just be playing Yoru, who also has other shit. Has fake out, has blindside. Dimensional drift also means you can't get hit by shit. Now you can't stick the spike through a Brim ult or a Taeho ult, but you can dodge it. So there's that. But instead of rotating for 400 credits, I can rotate for 150 and call it a day. And then do it again the other way if it turns out that they're pump faking. And then possibly do it again if I get 2 kills during the round. So it's hard to say, yeah, you'll play Veto over Yoru and other teams. Omen, the Shrouded Step, this is where it's like, cool. You have something coming back to the strength of Veto. I think it's playing elevation at weird points. Now, you could argue, you could just be playing Jet or Omen, but, or hell, kind of Chamber, but getting to a different weird angle while being able to turn for it and having some ounce of safety between an interceptor not breaking something that would break your other trip, or chokehold giving you the angle knowing that you can safely get over there to hold that weird angle. That's the thing. So, and you can pre-place it at weird spots. So yeah, as Omen, I would like to throw a paranoia and then do the TikTok teleports behind you, bam bam. That's cool and all. Probably cause me paranoia. That's a lot of steps. I have to actually, I can't afford to fuck up where I'm angling it during the teleport too. And if they see you, and this is the same thing with Vita though, they know that you have to teleport into the direction that they're seeing you. Right? So if they see you trying to start the teleport to go for this TikTok play, they just know to turn around. And by the time your animation is finished, kill you that way. So yes, I think it is much more accurate to say that Shrouded Step is the closest thing to crosscut compared to Yoru, Great Crash, or Chamber Rendezvous. And I'm sorry, Windows 11, my computer is still getting used to it, so sometimes that happens on the browser. But so I think that's more fair comparison. That said, though, that's another reason I don't think I would tell you to spend 400 credits just to rotate faster. You could be Omen and rotate for 200, but you're not doing that. You're going about the same distance as Shrouded Step, but you have the option of pre-placing it and being through walls per se. So it pre-placing and then teleporting through walls per se. So like it's kind of whatever. And we come to Chamber, which is the thing that I want to start this discussion of. I don't see you being the second Sentinel in most cases, or the solo Sentinel. Maybe solo. In fact, I think it's more likely you might have solo Veto. I take that back because I already know how they think. It's going to be more likely that you have double Sentinel Veto, but I think the reasoning will suck less or suck more. I think that if you have, I think you could justify running solo Veto before you can justify running double Sentinel with Veto. Why is that? Because if you're going double Sentinel, you have other options that you can do. If you want to say, all right, I'm going to go Killjoy Veto, why not Killjoy Cypher Why not Killjoy Chamber? Why not Killjoy Deadlock? Why not Killjoy Vice? Right? If you're going Cypher, Sage, because it's Icebox, alright, fine. But like, I can't see many reasons for you to go, alright, I'm going to go Vice Veto. Why? Just go Vice Killjoy or Vice Cypher or Vice Deadlock. Like, there's other. If you're going to double up on Sentinels, you have stronger Sentinels to use. I think the only reason you have one Sentinel is to do something like solo chamber comps. Whereas, like, alright, I have a Sentinel. I only need one trip this game. I only need one. Yeah, I think we've worked out the map enough. I only really need one trip. And then you have the conversation of is it chamber, is it veto? And then come into chamber, you're able to help your team with the economy. You're able to keep credits up on the team because you can just buy shit for them. If it's a gun round, you still have Headhunter, which is cheaper than buying a Guardian and or a Bulldog, and you can do the same thing. You got this, which we've seen good chambers have. If it's in a round that you can pull out the Tour de Force, guess what? You could just give your teammate a rifle. So now you have a fighting chance, especially if it was about to look like a thrifty, and that's probably when you're pulling out the Tour de Force, right? Or you went down previously, and you just keep your economy. So Chambers' ability to keep the economy on your team fair enough is like pretty huge. Comparatively, Veto, if you're going into whoopsie, sorry, my mouse hit something. Um, Comparatively, if you're going into a team that you know has a lot of post plant utility, that's when Veto would be better. So a map, well, Pearl is finally changed now, but old Pearl possibly would be that type of situation, right? No, place it behind the fucking boxes, and then hopefully it catches everything that they're trying to toss down be long that isn't a bullet. An evolution to the same credit. If you know that they're going to try to be playing Sova and Brimstone, old post plant, pop evolution then, and hopefully that they realize that they forgot that you have that. Right, that's when it comes in handy. But then they know that you have that as well. So that's the other thing with all of this, right? They know you have it too. So somebody should be warning them, hey, they have evolution up. You can't play that post plant like that. You have to use bullets. And if you use bullets, all right, cool. And then you no longer have evolution that round. Where you play this weird game of chicken. Who's going to pop their ult first? In the same way that Sova and Killjoy have had that, like Lockdown and Hunter's Fury. Who's going to do it first? Am I going to have uh, fucking Lockdown for next turn, or are you going to have Hunter's Fury as soon as I have it or not? Like, you play that weird game of chicken, which is now introduced for Evolution and Hunter's Fury again. So I guess that's maybe one thing. Maybe that's where you pick up Killjoy Veto, so you play this nonstop game of chicken where it's like, well, if you try to shoot my lockdown, you don't have it for my defuse for evolution, my evolution defuse. But then they just have bullets, so they just have to make sure that somebody is able to shoot you. And then maybe we see a weird fucking team where Harbor, after the rework, is able to solo controller, and we see Killjoy, Veto, Harbor, Cove, fucking I don't know, and then just maybe that's what happens in the future. But for right now, it's just fucking weird. So yeah, into some teams where you want to stop post plant shit, Veto is going to be good. But for a lot of teams, just having that extra gun chamber is going to be pretty good. Then I come to Gecko because this is the one that I want to talk about where I think you actually get countered as Veto compared to countering Gecko. Or a lot of people like, oh, poor Gecko, Veto's going to just eat him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is true. You can stop all of Gecko's abilities, but if the Gecko's not fucking stupid, they're not going to throw the rest of their abilities until 9 seconds is up, and they're still going to pick up their ability to reuse. So yeah, you can stop Thrash from entering the site, like if you know that, all right, oh, she's gunning for you. And then you don't have evolution up, right? You stop that. Then they wait 9 seconds. And then they throw the rest of the shit into sight and pick up Thrash. And Thrash got value. And then Thrash can do it again. Oh, she's doing it again, or whatever fuck the line is. Same with Dizzy or Wingman. You send those first on a round that you don't have Thrash. You know to wait, and then you pick it up and then call it a day. So I think, yeah, on that first go round, sure, uh, Gecko is countered per se. But then after that, you have nothing. So there's that. Then I come to Phoenix because to the curveball point, it's like, yeah, to the flashes, right? The other thing that's good about Interceptor is like you can stop things from pulling you off of angles. Uh, Figure out what you can tank and what you can't. But if a curveball pops out of smoke right at the entrance, did you know to pop Interceptor for that? No, you probably just ate the flash. Or they waited 9 seconds and now you ate the flash. Um, so yeah, there's not a lot of Phoenix in pro play at the moment, but there's more than we've. I was going to say more than we've seen in the past, but no, like that occurs. Of course, year one we saw Phoenix as it was like one of five duelists, so one of like 4 or 5, whatever. Of course, we saw Phoenix, but unless Phoenix, I guess there's safety in Phoenix not being here right now. But the same way that people finally woke up to Yoru, I think that you just might wake up to Phoenix. I don't think that Phoenix is amazing in pro play, but I think he's better than given credit, considering you have a smoke, a molly, two flashes that can come back with kills, and an ult that says you get to do it again. I know that was the Gecko thing, but hey, horses, whatever. Run it back is actually pretty decent. Now, you take Veto with Phoenix. I think you have some potential there for decent things, right? Maybe you make sure that, all right, that's where your Phoenix is running it back. You make sure that they have a chokehold to hold from them getting flanked from that position. And you have Interceptor where their body will be, and you have a teammate. Wow, you can possibly, right? Just saying, hey, get funky with it. If you have evolution, run it down with them. And that way they can flash willy nilly, throw shit willy nilly, and you don't get affected by any of it, and you get to play off of it. They already know they have to worry about Phoenix running it down at them, and then they have to get traded out, or hopefully not trade. They have to hit the Phoenix first, whatever. You trade out the Phoenix dead body, and then if you took any bullets, while you all are flashing willy nilly through blaze walls and shits, hey, uh, you just heal it back, or not. Well, take damage from the bullets, but not take damage from every other thing. I don't know. Just saying. I think that if there's a team that starts doing something with Veto and Phoenix, that'll be the times that we see it. Because, yeah, you can breach ult the Veto or Brim ult the Veto and ult like on your team or Sova, whatever. But it's kind of hard to make that go together and like for good reason. Like if your Veto's in that spot, why would anything else be in that spot? Like I don't know. Like I guess you could pop ult as Veto, teleport on site, hoping they didn't know where your teleport is, and hopefully they're not holding it, and then rolling thunder the spot, and then pick up kills that way. But there's a lot of setup there that I don't think I can see reasonably. I can see you more quickly as a pro team taking Veto and Phoenix together and running it down hand in hand. Uh, but like again, like a Sova, there's that. So here's Sova and the Fade argument, and coming back to KO argument to wrap up my thing about Veto. You could just get things thrown at a different angle. So once they know that you've done Recon Bolt, or you've destroyed Recon Bolt, they throw it in a different, completely different angle, as good Sovas and Fades should have for each site. as a pro level should have, and then you just don't catch that. And you're like, yeah, you destroyed the Prowler or the Owl drone. Then I wait 9 seconds and shockbolt you while I have the recon dart at a different angle that won't be caught by interceptor. So that's that's most of that. I know there's something that I'm going to be missing that I'm going to be pissed about. Oh, interceptor for attack, uh, and just using it in general. I think that pro players aren't going to do the thing that I see in ranked or other streamer. Well, not other. See streamers or content creators do, where it's like, all right, we're executing, I'm gonna throw it in the air right now for whatever reason, or in the 1v1 versus a chamber, I'm going to give away my position. I'm not going to swing off of it. I'm just going to give away my position by throwing interceptor up in the air when they have no utility that can be destroyed by interceptor. I think that's weird. I hope that pro players don't do that. Like if you use it for a fake flash just to pull the enemy's attention away and to swing off of it, fine, perfect days. But I see a lot of people that are like, all right, I'm hiding behind this box. I'm in this 1v1 versus a fucking chamber. We'll just go chamber again, or a fucking omen. All right, throw up interceptor. Now they can't use util, but now they have the general idea where you are because you can't go through walls, and they didn't have util to throw that can be stopped by interceptor anyway. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Uh, but yeah, Veto. I think there's a lot of things that goes wrong for Veto more than goes right. So I hope that they give some buff consideration. Hopefully, I would just things that I think would make Veto better and more justifiable in picks. Crosscut bigger range because it's very funky to use. Maybe a second chokehold would bring back double chamber trip days. Uh, Interceptor better range or longer duration. That way, yeah, if they don't swing and kill the interceptor, they have to risk waiting out, throwing out the execute for 15 seconds. I don't fucking know. Something like that. Or evolution coming down to 6 ult points because I don't think it needs to be 7 if I'm being honest with you. It's literally just Reign and Empress, but like, yeah, you can't be debuffed, but you can also like not escape like she can, and the heal takes longer, and you don't heal the shields. Like I don't think evolution's fine, but it doesn't need to be 7 if you ask me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Veto. I think he's cool. I like him. I'm still going to continue playing him, but I don't think that he's better, all that much better in pro play than ranked. To be honest, I think people are going to run into a lot of roadblocks. They might force it, as they tend to do with new agents. Some teams are going to force the Veto really hard. But then I'm going to ask the question: wouldn't you be better playing Yoru, KO, or Chamber here? Like I don't know. So yeah, that's my thoughts. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me? Comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.